Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I do somatic nutrition therapy. And all that means is that we help people have a felt sense of more safety inside as we're working on, relearning our food identity, how to eat from hunger and fullness, and how to, make peace with food and body. So happy Friday to those who are watching live. Those who are watching the replay, I hope your day is going well so far, and I hope this video gives you a lot of things to think about. So, right off the bat, I want you to get your notebook and something to write with and add it to your list. So, last week, just a little summary here, last week we talked about fight or flight, both the physiology and what's happening in our mind and our will and our emotions that impact our food and our efforts to break free from diet culture. What makes those states difficult and honestly why they exist. And this week we've been talking about the freeze and please response. And that's what we're going to finish up with today. And just to give you a little heads up about next week, we're going to be talking about all these strategies again, but then kind of like, well, what do I do about it when I notice it? And one of the homework assignments I've given everyone who's watched this video is to start to notice what your signals of fight or flight look like. We did that last week. And this week we're doing, well, what is it like? What's your lived experience or felt sense when you're in freeze or people please? So, freeze and people please are responses that when our body has worked really hard to try to get out of a threat response, some kind of action oriented thing to get away or to fight your way out of it. Freeze is a dorsal response in the part of the nervous system where it's like I tried to escape. Escape wasn't happening. There was no relief. There was no rescue. So now I just have to shut down. And literally, I'm going to power down and conserve energy. And so, what that looks like from Tuesday's video is that there's a lot of physiologic things are slower. So, not only is your digestion slower, is your awareness dulled and your sense of what you feel inside dulled, so is our mind. And that's what we're going to talk about today is what is happening in our day-to-day life. Um, we talked about what it feels like physically when things are slowed and dulled, and then the metabolism slows down, all that. We're going to talk about, well, why do we get kind of stuck, basically? Stuck is kind of a trauma vortex where it's like part of us wants to keep going forward and we want to do recovery, and then some kind of felt sense happens where we're faced with our fullness, we're faced with what other people think about what we're doing, what we're afraid about in the future. And if we don't know what to do with that fear, we start to shut down and we don't do anything, basically. So what that looks like in freeze, and there's a term called functional freeze that I learned a long time ago from someone named Irene Lyon. And I know other people use that term too, but functional freeze is like you're doing stuff in life. Maybe you're even going to like sessions, but you're not really able to kind of move forward. What that would look like in your life is you go to your job or you do the things, but you're going through the motions. There's just so much autopilot. And maybe you notice it, and maybe you don't, and it feels safe. Or maybe you do notice it and it feels safe. And maybe only part of you is frustrated about it. Or maybe you are just now noticing it for the first time today. Like, wow, I get up, I do the same thing, I eat the same thing. I don't even notice what I feel. I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know how to change it. That's an example of functional freeze. Um, People pleasing would be the opposite. It's like you might kind of have some sense of like, I don't really want to be doing this, but I feel like I have to. You feel like your will is not yours. You feel a little stuck or feel suppressed. Um, or you're handing over your will. But that's the way you've lived for so long in this kind of codependent, um, I can't really do what I want to do kind of way, that it feels like you're living, thinking, feeling through some fog or some mud. Some of the ways that feels mentally as well is, yeah, kind of fuzzy thinking. Um, I know we talked about low um, senses, on Tuesday, but I would say like a low, like I don't really know myself. I can't feel myself. Um, those are some typical things. We forget things. So I didn't even go to the mental yet, but it's again, I don't know. I'm looking at this thing, and I can't tell you which pen I like the best. I'm looking at them, but I just feel like that it's not getting in. The information's not getting in, or if it is, I can't grab what it feels like inside. And that can happen with your food, of course. And that's pretty common. If you've been so disembodied from your needs, how much do I need? How much do I like? Because you've been so used to like, here you go, someone else tell me what to eat and what to do and what to feel. You dissociate from yourself, and that's what that is. So I know in these videos, the goal this week wasn't to like, okay, what do I do about that? But just to start to be a witness. Yes, I do that. So it's morning here, doing this live video. Um, and if you were to sit back in your chair, can you notice that this chair holds you up? Do you have a sense of your body in space? Like just by looking straight at the screen, can you tell with your body, like how close you are to the wall, far away, how far up in the sky you are with your chair? I have kind of a high chair here. Um, my feet barely touching the ground, but I have a sense of that. You have to be pretty present to notice that. One of the things you're going to notice if you're struggling with body image issues too is dysmorphia. Either feeling like having a sense that you're bigger or smaller than you actually are. That's a form of some freeze, dissociation. There's not a lot of body awareness. And we're going to talk next week about how to deal with that. But first, your job here, if you're going to, take action in these videos, is to start to notice what your signals of not fully here are. And there's a function to that. Remember that it can feel pretty safe. If things are really bad, you feel like that you can't tolerate your emotions or feel what you're feeling. That's what dissociation does. It helps you get out of that situation. And the problem with chronic checking out is whether overeating to feel something, undereating because you just don't notice yourself and your needs, and you only notice when things are pretty intense. The problem with that is that we make decisions with our life that aren't really us. It's not you making that decision. It's this, it's not really a habit per se, but you can get yourself into chronic dissociation by default of like overcoupling certain sensations or emotions and immediately check out. And what we're trying to do with these videos is notice that you do that and create a witness to it. And that's going to be your, I guess, little bonus tip is start to notice that you do that. Oh, I don't know really if I want to be here. What am I doing? Or do I really want to be eating that? If you could start to notice that, now you're well on your way. So that's it for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video series, and we'll finish it up next week. So this has been we'll have been our third week of this, and we're going to go over each of the fight or flight, freeze or please. As you start to notice your signals, your symptoms of that, you notice it. What are some things we can do about that? And start to use those before you know that you need to be eating. That's very, very important, because if you can create a landing pad to create some space inside and be a witness to yourself before those meals or those snacks or those maybe opportunities where you're going to be more visible, you're less likely to go into those autopilot responses and start to create a lot more agency, self-compassion, courage, curiosity. Without those tools, if you don't have courage and curiosity and compassion and just this belief that you believed you are allowed now, maybe weren't in the past, but you're allowed now to take up space and to get your needs met. Without these are your tools. Without those, we're doing a lot of performative recovery. And those of you who work with me know, my team knows that I'm so not interested in performative recovery, because all I see it do is create people who know what they're supposed to do, but they can't reach for it. It doesn't stick. And it's some of the saddest stuff I get to see. And that's why I talk so much about these physiologic states, because if we don't give people a new felt sense that making changes is relatively safe enough, and it won't last. And I want people to get as free as they can, as hopefully as soon as they can. So Thank you so much for watching, and I will see everybody in next week's videos. Bye for now.